Welcome to the Networking with Michelle podcast, the show dedicated on providing you the how-tos of marketing and networking strategies. Here we believe in the Jim Rohn quote, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Networking with Michelle. I'm your host, Michelle Gomez, and I wanted to take a moment to do a special episode today called What is Your Mental State? What is your mental state? And I didn't consider this episode until Thanksgiving Eve, and here I am recording it on Black Friday. But I thought this was just important since we are officially in the holiday season. And I'm going to go solo, but I just wanted to take a moment to share my thoughts and hopefully encourage someone. Maybe you can even draw some empathy and reach out to people. But I think this is very, very important that we discuss this. And mental health should be addressed freely at any time, but it becomes exceptionally hard during the holidays. And we, the collective society, we become stuck between, slowing down to spend time with family and friends, or even getting caught up in the holiday shopping hype. And maybe you don't live in the same city as your family and it's hard for you to travel because you don't have the money, or it's hard to get so many days off, because it goes by seniority and all these type of things. Or maybe you've been in a relationship for the past 3, 4, 5 years, and then this is your first holiday without that special person. Look, I get it. I've been there myself, one way or another. And these are things that trigger us that could lead us to a depressed state. And I just wanted to address a few things, and let's just see how it goes. So I know for the African American community, speaking on mental health has been taboo. We are brought up to the default is to go back to the Bible, church, religion, spiritual practices. And, I believe mental health is not subject to a one-size-fits-all cure by God. It's just not. And a lot of us, we feel the pressure to meet the standards of our respective religion. And that's a trigger in itself, but that's for another episode, right? And I've been able to address this topic on previous episodes. I think episode 16 with Dr. Dion Metzger, Better Health, Better Mind, when we talked about the Charleston shooting of the 8 or 9 Black people in a Charleston church were shot it was either during or after service, which seems to be racially motivated with a great height of a hate crime. More recently, I did the episode of Perspective of Black Lives Matter with therapist Brandon Jones. Love that brother. He got next, and I believe he specializes in African American families. What I love about him is just, one, he's a guy, African American male, and I know a lot of men have a problem with expressing, whether it's verbally or physically, their emotions. And for him to be a guy, and he was able to share some of his past story, and kind of address some of the hurdles that men go through. I really appreciate that about him. And, this summer we had a series of police shootings, and I had a chance to speak to a friend during that time, and he was telling me that, he was scared, and he found himself randomly crying because of the police shootings, and like, God forbid, but you don't know if you're next. You don't know if you're next. And I can never compare myself to a Black guy. I can't. I'm a Black female. I'm a Black woman. Totally different experiences. But a couple of weeks ago, I got pulled over a cop, and I was pissed. Just pissed. I felt like he had no right to pull me over. And this is getting a little bit off topic, but had a brand new car. Um, I just knew all of my stuff was together. He had no reason to pull me over, and he pulled me over because I had my paper license plate. It wasn't tucked under the plate holder, so it was flapping in the wind. So he felt compelled to tell me about that. And there was no problems, but just the fact of me getting pulled over, I was pissed. So I can only imagine what that looks like 10x probably if you are an African American male. Okay. And just to think you believe you're in right standing and you get pulled over and possibly injured or even lose your life. And this is the thing. He was going through that, as he should. And I commend him for telling me. This is a brother that I respect, I look up to. I consider him to be very strong, respectful, stoic. And for him to, I don't know what it was about me or the fact that he was okay with sharing that with me, but I appreciate it. And then I also wonder, like, how many more women or even his friends, his guy friends, that he was able to share that information with. And I think we need more of that, right? Um, we need more people that are mentally and emotionally strong to express their authentic selves with any loved one in a safe environment. But in the same token, we need more mentally and emotionally strong people that are equipped to receive that information, because I may want to express my authentic self to you, right? The craziness that I'm going through. But if you're my friend and you're like, oh man, I don't want to hear that. Oh man, just get over it, man. That ain't gonna, if I dismiss your feelings, how real are we gonna be in this relationship? And I just believe it's a two-way street when it comes to that. Because we need people. There's people that need our help, but a lot of us are not even open to helping in that capacity, especially when it comes to men wanting to express themselves in any form. This is for the sisters, right? So many of my sisters are looking for love. And it's not even in the wrong places, right? I can't even say that cliche phrase, because I believe I surround myself with beautiful, talented, intelligent, educated women. If you put stuff down on paper, probably with a picture next to it, great list, great top 10 criteria, whatever you want to call it, right? But I get disappointed that too many women are single, and the dating stories I hear from my friends are absolutely hilarious, ridiculous, and quite sad. Now, I'm not going to get into any stories. I don't have any personal stories. I stopped dating a long time ago. But my last two clusterfuck relationships ended, and they were significant enough for me to see a therapist. Now, I took the responsibility of me being the common denominator. I felt like there was a complexity that I was gravitating to, right? And I began to constantly question myself. Why am I attracting these type of people? Why are these people going through this certain situation? And for whatever reason, I pop up, right? Same plot, different character. What's going on? And I love my girls. Now, a lot of my friends have changed from then to now. But, start listening to my homegirl in my ear, thinking you need advice. And granted, lots of times you need someone to talk to just listen. And then you get that unwarranted advice, etc., etc. And then start doing things that you shouldn't be doing. And I was like, I need to speak to someone all the way on the outside looking in, right? Because listening to my friends was not going to lead to a healthy relationship. At least that's how I felt at that time in my life. Listening to my homegirls was not going to lead to a healthy relationship. Um, at that point, I kind of felt like I was definitely in the beginning stages of settling down. Now I know I've known for quite some time that I'm ready to settle down, but I believed, okay, Michelle, if you think you're ready to settle down, but you keep attracting the same type of people, one, you're either going to settle down with the wrong person, or two, you're not going to settle down at all, right? So I felt that therapy wasn't a cure, but what are some of the things that I need to work on myself in order for me to recognize those red flags early on and to not give heed to them, right? Because what happens with when we talk to our friends about relationships, okay, they are giving you advice based off of their experience, based on what they know about you, and possibly what they know about your boyfriend or your mate, your partner, whatever, right? If they've seen y'all interact, if you've done some group datings, if y'all been together for over a year, 2 years, etc., etc. That advice, the advice your friends are giving you, are based on that, right? But what I liked about my therapist and most therapists is the advice they're giving you is going to challenge you to think about yourself. And once again, I'm all about self-awareness. And I think a lot of us, we have the questions that go through our mind, but we never answer those tough questions. And it's time to either ask and answer those tough questions in order for you to figure out what you need to do with your life and the type of people, relationship, or friendship that you want to be with. Now, I'm not saying that every woman needs to see a relationship expert or a therapist, but you need to find ways to challenge yourself in order for you to understand the answers that you need in your life, right? To understand where are you at this time in your life. Third part, entrepreneurship. I don't even know where to begin on this one. I think for anyone, starting a business is tough, whether you're doing it full time, launching out to the deep end, or even on the side. In most cases, time can be your enemy or your friend. You can have all these things to do with the plans to do them right, and hopefully it's well received. Receive well meaning that you're reaching your goals, whether it's financial and or the influence that you want to gain from people online, physically, whatever the case may be. But this is the tough part. It's the holiday season. People are having parties, family gatherings. People are going to ask you questions, right? How's business going? How's your little podcast going? That project you launched in March that no one asked about, they're going to ask in December, right? So that thing you did, I saw not too long ago, they're going to ask. It was launched in March, but they're going to ask about it now in December. How's that going? And are you really ready to deal with those tough questions in this family festive environment? What about if you borrowed money, if you had investors, family and friends invest into your project and you haven't been able to provide the results that you thought, whether it's giving them regular updates, the ROI, let alone their money back, and now this is the time where everyone comes together and you have nothing. These are the things that makes the holidays so difficult. And I'm not talking about burnout. I'm talking about the pressure the pressure, the responsibility of success that goes unaddressed. And I feel like these are issues that are possibly just now coming up within the business community. Maybe now that I'm in my third year, I'm starting to see it. But people are losing their mind. And oh God, I think, a couple months ago, there was an article on Kid Cudi. He checked himself in. Of course, Kanye, he's been doing his thing for a while, but he had another rant and now he was hospitalized. And I just believe people are doing things, they're showing you the signs, but are you able to recognize an unhealthy pattern in your life or even an unhealthy pattern in someone else's life, especially if they're close to you? And all I'm saying is if you have recognized it and therapy has crossed your mind, it's okay to explore that option. It's okay to seek help. It's okay. And I think we need to be two kinds of people. We need to be that person that says, I'm okay with getting outside help. And then we also need to be the person that says, I'm okay to put myself, we need to be the person that says, I'm okay if someone needs to receive help. Right? And I think when we have those two qualities, those two things going for us, and maybe it's not going to be at the same time, it's going to be at different times. Like, I've seen therapists pretty much off and on all my life, right? But I can speak freely about seeing a therapist because of my past relationships. I don't know who, I've always been open about that. But now if someone comes up to me and they're like, oh, I'm thinking about seeing a therapist, I'm like, yeah, go for it. I'm your cheerleader. Like, do it. I'm not the other friend like, girl, you don't need no therapist. Like, yes, you do. Maybe you do. And nothing's wrong with that. And I just want to be that security blanket, that person that is like, it's okay. Like, I'm your advocate. And I think we need more. We have friends, but are all of your friends advocating for you? And yes, they mean well, but are all of your friends advocating for you? Okay, so I'm about to wrap up here. Look, I surround myself with a lot of entrepreneurs. Most therapy sessions cost about $150 for a 45, 60-minute session. I think that's feasible. You can also do a life coach if you feel more comfortable with that. Now, if you work and you have insurance with your employer, they have what they call an EAP, Employer Assistance Program. And at least for my experience, what I did when on the intranet, the internal company website, I was able to look that up, call the 800 number, took down some information, whatever. Went back to the website. I found a list of therapists based off of my zip code or whatever, put some stuff in. And I was very strategic and conscious about the therapist I was looking for. Now, I'll say this. For me, for what I was going through, I didn't want a Black therapist because I didn't want anyone holding the Bible over my head. I'm a Christian. I read the Bible, go to church, all those things. So I didn't want to be in a preaching session, right? Directed to me 100%. Now, I'm pretty sure there's some therapy laws and whatever codes that say they shouldn't do that. But I didn't want to go through that experience. So I intentionally sought out a white woman. She's probably a little bit older than me. I don't know her age, but love her to death. Great woman. Yvonne Champion, saw her for a couple of years. And since I went through the employer assistance program, the first 5 sessions were free. And then my insurance covered, had a copay. So the insurance covered the remainder of that. And then, I stopped doing the insurance. Well, I left Chase and I stopped doing the insurance part. And I think at that time her rate was $150 an hour. All I'm saying is options are there. There's a lot of free options for you, especially if you have an employer and you're paying for health coverage. I'm pretty sure that's tied into your employer benefits. Take advantage of that. If not, please set aside a budget for it. We spend a lot of money on miscellaneous things, but if you can spend $150 a month to see someone on a regular basis, just to make sure your mind is right, you can't put a price on peace of mind. All right. And I want to encourage you to check on people this holiday season, this month of December that we're going into. We got 30 days, a little over 30 days left of 2016. I want to encourage you to check on people. Invite people to come over, invite people to go out, visit people, call folks. Don't put too much pressure on yourself as we go into a new year. Just do the right thing. Make sure your mind is clear. Make sure your mind is free. If you're stressed and you're like, well, Michelle, I'm not even depressed. If you're stressed, if you're burned out, that's okay. Take that day off to watch SVU marathons. Call me over. I'll watch them with you. But take that break. You got to give yourself permission to take a break. You got to give yourself permission to have a peace of mind. Okay? Look, you are loved. I believe in you. A personal connection leads to an influential network. Thanks for networking with Michelle.